My name is Cassy Summers. Welcome to the Curious Universe podcast. This one is for the Futurists. Welcome to the show. Have you ever had a brilliant idea, a big awareness, something before its time come into your universe, and the people around you couldn't envision it? They couldn't get it. It was like before their time. If you said yes to any of that, then I'm talking to you. If you didn't say yes to any of that, then there might still be something in this episode for you. So, hang out, check this out. As a futurist, I have often been so dynamically aware of, a new wave of possibility coming, a new way of connecting, a new way of reaching out, a new not invention, but creation, asking to come into the world that's just totally different and totally outside of the box, if you will. And what can happen is if you're one of those people and you're working with people that kind of use the common reference points to create, I'm sure there's people that are willing to jump and leap when they don't know what they're doing and they don't know where they're going. But a lot of people aren't. A lot of people have to see something before they can even have it come into the world. And if you're perceiving something that hasn't come into the world yet, then they can't perceive it. Bringing this up isn't to make them wrong and the futurist right, or the futurist wrong or them right. It's to acknowledge these differences that can create disconnection. Let's say you're on a team and you're collaborating and you're sharing this new big thing and you're like, oh my God, this is what I want to bring into the world. And they're like, is it like this? Trying to find that reference point. And you're like, no. Is it like this? No. And you might even, I've done well, kind of like this, but not, because then you could bring in this, and you're almost trying to give them a recipe that doesn't quite make sense, because again, it's something brand new. It's something that hasn't existed before. So how do you explain that? How do you get them to perceive what you could perceive? And then maybe a year or so later, the exact thing that you were talking about is in the world. And only then can you go, that's what I wanted to create with you guys. That's what it was. Yeah, it can be a frustrating adventure for a futurist. I spent a lot of years very frustrated. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit today, or explore with you rather a little bit today, curiously, different possibilities beyond frustration. What if you could be the futurist and still have a lot of fun? What if you could be the futurist and still collaborate with people? And how do you actualize being a futurist to your advantage rather than to your frustration? So I've heard of the tale of Cassandra, who was cursed to know the future, but no one would ever believe her. So she was cursed to know the future, but no one would ever believe her. Have you ever been the Cassandra? Have you ever known, oh my God, this is what's going to happen. No one would believe you. And then that is what happened. There's a difference between knowing what's going to happen, having an awareness of the future, and having presumptive realities of what the future is going to be like or what's going to happen based on reference points, based on the mind, based off of these other things. So first of all, I'm going to encourage you, if you are one of these people, to really look at that, because they can seem so similar that sometimes our presumptive realities, we will think that they're awarenesses of the future. And then they do show up because of our presumptive realities. So we actually create them showing up because of those presumptions. An awareness of the future is usually more whispery. It doesn't have a solidity to it. It doesn't have this finality to it. It's like, oh, whoa, like what? What if this came into the world? Or, I once had this sense that I was talking to a friend and that I just got this like sense of a car crashing into their car. And then they asked me a few questions and I got like a black truck and they're like, when? And I'm like, I don't know. And then actually 2 weeks later, a black truck jumped to Meridian and almost slammed into them. But because we'd had that conversation, they were on the lookout for it and actually avoided that truck. How cool is that? So whispers of the future can be like these kind of non-tangible, whispery type things. When you're in a presumptive reality, like you're presuming like this is going to happen because this is what's going to happen, you can always sense some kind of like density to it, finality to it. There's usually a charge to it, like some intensity to it. These are very good tools to have in your toolbox, Futurist, because you can trick yourself to believe that your whisper of the future is a presumptive reality, or your presumptive reality is a whisper of the future. And if all of this is like clear as mud, don't worry. We're going to get to lightness. We're just going to keep on traveling in this curious space together, okay? So everything that you've ever done to misidentify and misapply your presumptive realities as whispers of the future, or whispers of the future as your presumptive realities, will you destroy and create all that times a godzillion, right, wrong, good, bad, POC, BOD, all nature's boys, poets, and beyonds. So if you're new to the show, those weird words I just said is the Access Consciousness Clearing Statement. You can get more information at www.theclearingstatement.com. I always put a link in the show descriptions, and there's a cool description about what it is and how it works, but you could just think about it as our magic wand here tonight. Okay, so now let's say you do have whispers of the future, okay? So we've cleared out the presumptive realities. We're like, oh my gosh, this is what's coming. So here's an example. This is a really silly example, but I'm going to give this an example. When TikTok was kind of like just really starting, and it was mostly for kids. So how do you use that to your advantage, right? Okay, this is my TikTok story. It's so silly. So TikTok started to, kids were like, it was just like something kids were doing really. And I said to someone, I'm like, that's going to be the next thing that businesses are on. And everyone laughed at me and they're like, you're ridiculous. Businesses, how could a business go on there? How could people convert that? And I'm like, just wait. And it took a few years. It was probably 2 to 3 years. And then all of a sudden it was like wildfire, like so many coaches, so many spiritual people, so many different types of businesses, social media businesses, marketing, all this stuff went on to the TikTok world. Now, that's one of those times where you can really use your awareness, those little whispers like, something to invest in. Ooh, some platform that I want to play on. Oh, this is going to grow into something greater. You can really use it to your advantage, especially if getting in, and certain times getting in early actually creates more for you. So how many whispers of awareness did you not actually follow up on? Did you not leap into? That if you had, followed your own awareness, would have generated big success, big money, big possibilities, whatever. And everything that is, will you destroy and create it? Right, wrong, good, bad, talk about only towards voice puppets. So why do we destroy and create something that's already happened? Well, we're actually changing the energy around it, because it can be, sometimes we'll use that to actually judge ourselves, or to use that futurist energy as a wrongness of us, or a frustration, right? Okay, so here we go. We're just exploring more into the curious universe. We're exploring your whispers of the future. How do you start to use this to your advantage? And here's the thing, guys. People are going to probably think you're crazy. It's certain people in my life, I've been like correct so many times that they don't question me anymore. But often I've come like with this idea, and it's before its time. And I have actually shut down or stopped something because other people couldn't receive it. What if you didn't have to do that? Don't make the same mistakes that I have. You can ask this question, though, and this is a brilliant question to ask. And it's contributed so much to me, and sometimes I even forget. And then I'm like, why didn't I ask that question? So when this idea is coming, and like this is before its time, there's been musical artists that have been before their time. There have been painters before their time. There's been like so many inventions before their time, right? You could ask, is this for now or for the future? So when an idea comes to you and you're like, oh my God, is this for now? And you can even ask the entity, ask the creation itself, is this for now? Or is this actually for the future? Now, if you get for the future, then I am going to recommend you asking a few more questions. What if for the future doesn't necessarily mean that you don't start to create it now? Because you might need to plant some seeds, to put some stuff in place, to actualize that future with more ease. You got to ask the questions. So if you get for the future, then what if you were to ask, is there something I need to be or do now to actualize this future? You might just get an energy. You might get a full awareness. You might get action steps. Oh my God, I need to do this. And that takes it out of being something that you just push, okay, whatever, it's in the future. And you just shove it out and never actually nurture it and energetically feed it. These beautiful creations that you're aware of are different futures coming into the world. And if you're aware of it, then what if you actually have the capacity to help bring it, to catalyze it into the world, to pull it into the world, to nurture it into the world? And if you do, I'm going to encourage you to play with that capacity, to use that brilliance of you, that magic of you, to create a different future for all of us, because that's what part of the difference is, right? If it's never been here before, you don't have any reference point to explain this creation, then you're actually part of bringing something into the world that's never been. And if you're bringing something in the world that's never been before, you're changing the world. You're creating new possibilities in the world. So is this for now? Is this for future? Is there something I need to be or do now to bring this into actualization in the future? And if you get no, then just ask the creation to tell you when. Tell me when to start taking action. Tell me when to start connecting about this. Tell me when to start moving this creation. And sometimes I've noticed things have come to me and I'm not the one to even bring it in, but it's just asking for my contribution, my energy, my willingness to engage with it. And so it'll be something that, maybe it has to do with like, free energy in the world. Well, I'm not really going to go out and get degrees in things so I can develop technology to bring free energy into the world. That's like not really my jam, right? So what I do is I will like ask, what can I contribute to you? Creation, this amazing possibility. Can I energetically connect you to someone who can bring you into the world? What gift can I be to you coming into the world? And then after a while, it just kind of disappears. And then I have actually seen things come up that had a similar thread to what I was aware of is possible. It is a playground with your wizardry capacities to actually engage with these things, these future possibilities that tickle you, that entice you, that are communicating to you. So, my dear futurist friend, if no one has ever gotten you, I get it. You're not alone, because you're the future. And not everyone can perceive what you perceive. Not everyone knows what you know. If you can acknowledge it for you, you'll have more peace and just know what you know. Even if no one will acknowledge it for you, you can acknowledge it for you. And the more you acknowledge it and truly acknowledge it, not like, yeah, I believe it's true, fake it till you make it. But I mean, like, actually go, I don't know when this is coming into the world, but I know this is coming into the world. Or if you're in a group setting and people are like, I don't know, like this is a little far out there, you could be like, I know in your own head. I mean, you could do it to the group setting, but it might work better in your own head. I know that this is the future. I know that if we started taking action today, this would create a massive future right away. And it's okay that they're saying no, because it's just their limitation. Like, it has nothing to do with you and your capacities and your awareness. Trust me, you didn't deliver it wrong. I have tried every way of delivering it. And sometimes they'll take like 1% of what you're aware of and they'll go with that. And that's okay, because that's the 1% that they could perceive. Just keep going. Just keep knowing what you know. It's our acknowledgement of the miraculous future we're aware of that brings it into reality. So please don't start doubting you or going into the fight of it, because then you're trapped too. You're trapped in a fight. Acknowledge what you know, because you know. And you can contribute to all of these miraculous things coming into the world. Play with those questions. Let me know how it goes, my wonderful futurist friend. And I hope this contributes to some peace. Have a creation little book, or you could have notes on your phone. I have this beautiful little book I bought. It's all like, dark blue and gold. It's so pretty. And I'll put creation ideas in there. Some of them are like for me personally. Some of them are just things in the world that I would like to see, like a world that I would like to be a part of, that I would like to live in. And everything that you're aware of is possible. It doesn't matter how unbelievable that whisper of a future is. You wouldn't perceive it if it wasn't possible. And those that can't perceive it, it's because it's just not in their reality yet. It's not possible to them. That's why they can't get on board. That's why they can't jump in and say, yes, let's do it. Because it can't come into their reality. It doesn't exist for them. It's like talking about a color that no one in the world has seen except for you. And they're like, I don't see it. They will. And they may never acknowledge you for it. And they may never recall, what you had brought to the table. But you know. And if you acknowledge yourself, then doesn't really matter, because the creations are acknowledging you too. And really, the futurists that I know, including myself, like, we're here for the future. It's not really about being validated by people that can't see what you can see. What if it's more about being what you can be? Thank you. This was a little bit of a weird one off to the start, but I'm glad that we kept going. We kept exploring. We even had to pause in the middle. But it was so worth it being here with you and getting really curious about being a futurist, the gift of it, not the curse of it. Oh, we could clear that quick. So everywhere it's been a curse rather than a gift. Will you destroy it and create it? Right, wrong, good, bad, pock, bot, all nine shorts, boys, bobads, and eons. And what is truly possible for you now? Thank you for exploring the curious universe with me. Your curiosity matters. And what if together we could create a greater, more curious world?